Hey, it's Karl Guestline here from Electric Bike Blog, and I'm talking to Karl Hallen, who is the evil farmer genius behind the Willow Shrub project from ESF, and I'm going to ask him a couple of quick questions. So, Karl, you've been working on this Willow Shrub project. Can you tell us a little bit more about, right now you're standing next to some willow growth that's about 1 year of growth, and it looks like it's about 8 feet tall. And can you just kind of briefly explain the project and what you hope to accomplish with the willow shrub?
Well, our initial project is a bioenergy source. Willow it's a very fast growing. This is shrub willow. It's not the big tree willow. We cut every 3 years. This is 1 year growth, as you mentioned. It grows back fast. Comparatively, it's about 10 to 1 what forest product residues can grow and accumulate in a year. Because the stem is just stored sunshine. It's woody fuel.
Right. I mean, that's what all farmers are, really, right? I mean, we're all solar farmers. That's basically what we're doing.
That's it. And the project was developed to develop this industry so we can have a future fuel source. Now, right now, we can't compete with natural gas. It's so much easier to blow the ground apart and suck up the gas from million-year-old carbon, but this is 3-year-old carbon. Well, this is 1-year-old carbon. We got 3-year-old carbon we can burn, supply our energy needs.
Right. So let me ask you a quick question about that. So it seems like although biofuels represents about half of the renewable energy we're currently using, it's not really covered at all in the mainstream media. Why do you think that is?
Follow the money trail. The dollars are in solar right now. Wind is next, and there's no big money behind us, so we can't invest in the advertising, the lobbying, crony capitalism.
Right, the money.
That's
and
the
so
lobbying.
This whole project, this Shrub Willow, is an ESF. It's New York State grant money, and they're really trying to develop something completely new that's never been done before. So you guys worked with New Holland for their harvester to develop a large harvester that would come through and automatically cut 3-year-old willow, which can be quite a bit larger than this. You can see this is about 1 inch in diameter. You could cut it with a sickle mower, but the 3-year-old growth ends up being about 3 inches in diameter. So tell me a little bit about that harvester.
It'll grow about 20 feet tall too.
20 feet.
It's a standard self-propelled forage harvester that would be used for hay or corn by any farmer feeding his cows. It's just the headers developed with saw blades to cut the woody stem. And the rest of the unit's the same thing. It's got the corn knives in it, and it cuts it to a nice size. The forestry chippers tend to be a lot bigger chips, not as even. This is a beautiful quality chip, especially where we go for hot water extracting the sugars, acetic acid, stuff out of the willow, that's stepping up the value. Then we can compete. Right now, there's no plants built to do that, but pilot plants and stuff, we're proving that it can be done, and it can be a valuable source of sugar to make ethanol, acetic acid for industrial use.
Right. So just out of curiosity, what price do you think oil's got to be per barrel before this actually becomes commercially viable, competitive, or even cheaper than oil?
$50 oil, we can compete. Natural gas is cheaper than
right. That's the problem
oil,
with the fracking revolution. Now America is producing so much energy, it's ridiculous out of the ground. But so one of the most important things to remember with this energy, that all of the carbon that we're extracting out of this for biofuel, whether it be ethanol, biodiesel, or burning it, this is all stuff that we captured and then we're reusing. So this is not stuff that's been stored in the ground for millions of years, right?
Yeah,
and that's really the big piece.
Key important.
Right.
And we're storing it not only in the stem, and in the roots, substantial amounts of carbon. It's a good filter. In waterways, it breaks the flow. The sediment can settle down. It's a great
windbreak too. I mean, you've been trying to push New York State to grow it along the sides of the roads, right, to help with
windbreak, headlight glare break. If it's in the median, it filters the water. It absorbs a lot of the nitrogen and phosphorus, so it doesn't get into our water stream.
Right, and that's been a huge problem in a lot of the lakes around here. We're getting giant algae blooms, and I think
it would be key to prevent the algae blooms to use willow to suck up some of those nutrients.
And so let's talk about just planting the willow real quick. Now, willow is one of the most incredibly easy trees to plant in the entire world. Really, you can just cut any of these stalks and just stick them in water to store them, or in your freezer, and then just basically take 1 foot long sections and just stick them in the ground, right? You don't.
Yeah, a little piece like this. The buds are up. Stick it in the ground. Leave up an inch out of the ground, and it'll grow.
It'll grow.
It'll root.
If it's got water, it'll grow. And the other thing is that, like you said, it's great for cleaning the water. It's great for sucking up water. And this is one of the few plants that'll grow even if it's submersed in water part of the year. Isn't that correct?
It's amazing how well it will survive.
In almost any
Cypress willow,
condition.
I've called it. We had some of beaver dam, and they were literally roots this high up. They went down. It was incredible.
And you guys have been digging these plants up and looking at the roots and measuring the carbon that this stuff has been capturing, and also they're generating wood chips. Here you can see these piles of wood chips, and we've been working with them to research different, usually about 2 or 3 years if you turn the piles once or twice, make some pretty amazing mulch. That stuff grows incredibly fast, and so this might also be a problem for the topsoil depletion problem as well, right?
But that, and from the tests I put at Cornell, it compares very favorably to sphagnum moss, and it's a way better for environment to be using wood chips like this rather than mining sphagnum moss in Canada and trucking it down here for our greenhouse medias. It retains water. It has holds air. You know, the bulk density is nice. So it's a tremendous soil amendment.
Right, and my wife actually believes that because stuff grows so well with these wood chips, that there might be some of the growth hormone in the willow inside the wood chips that's causing it to make stuff grow faster. What do you think about that? Is that just wild speculation?
It's certainly possible. That's not one thing we haven't looked at, but we know that there are hormones in the plant, and that's why it does root so well from the cuttings on the stems. We're doing relatively young 3-year-old chips. It's very possible.
Yeah, so is there anything else you want to say to the world about this project, Karl?
Help support us. We're out here. We're trying our best to develop ones that grow better and yield more and store more carbon. And right now we're scrabbling along. Nobody has money to donate for
if you look at
research.
You can find more research at esf.com/willow. And this is Karl Hallen, the ESF project in Tully, New York. And thanks so much for all that information, Karl.
You're welcome.